All right, everybody. I think we can get started now. It's just after 2:01 Eastern. We're talking 11:01 out on the West Coast. So, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Randy Gould. I am the Director of Business Development here at Sherweb Helpdesk, powered by GMS. And today we're going to talk about how you can grow your business with our help desk services and our NOC services, and how we help MSPs all around the world service their clients by making things a lot easier in their own specific worlds and not have to worry about all the burden cost per employee and all the stuff that goes along with having to manage your own employee base. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I have a nice presentation for you. Normally we can breeze through this in about 25 minutes to a half an hour. I do invite all kinds of questions. Okay, there are questions that you might have. Please feel free to ask them at will. I have Jordan Amato with me. Jordan is our moderator today. So hi, Jordan. Thank you for being part of our presentation today.
Thank you, Randy.
And yeah, excellent. Glad to have you along. So without any further ado, let's get started on how you can get growing with our help desk and NOC service. Well, a little bit about me. As mentioned, I'm the Director of Business Development here at GMS Sherweb. I've been with the company for 8.5 years, actually. Started way back when, 2013, actually. So I've been a pretty big part of what we've been doing here for a long time. I've been a veteran in this industry for over 12. So I like to tell my MSPs that I know what I speak. So I'm very happy to share my knowledge of the industry and what I've learned over the years. And I will say that, no man is an island, or no woman is an island. We learn from each other, and a lot of the things that I've learned over the years have actually come from my partner base. So happy to be along and share my experiences. And again, please feel free to type your questions in the chat panel. Jordan will relay them to me, and I'll periodically ask for some questions during the presentation. So Jordan, we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so a little bit of background on GMS. It's now part of the Sherweb family. Was owned and operated by my former CEO, Wayne Goldstein, way back. He started it about 21 years ago. And we moved into the MSP space about 18 years back. And Wayne was at a CompTIA event many years back and noticed a lot of MSPs were looking for a reliable help desk, but didn't necessarily want to lock it into the likes of some of the bigger competitors of the day. So we were doing e-learning for telecommunications companies here in Canada, along with companies like Home Depot, IBM, Cisco, Dell, Department of Defense, Visa. So very deep pedigree of folks that we'd worked with over the years. So we morphed it into help desk for MSPs when we saw there was a need for it, and we've been an industry leader ever since. And I've seen a lot of changes myself over those years. Family owned because of the Sherweb family, but we do offer 24/7, 365 North American help desk with NOC services. And we do it in various ways, actually. We do 3 methods of transportation into the help desk. We do email support, live phone, which is our preference, and we also give you live chat. Now, what's really nice about the chat is, and we'll get into this in a little bit, what's really nice about the chat is it is not an agent that needs to be deployed into the system. It's actually a link to the back end of the GMS website. So very lightweight, not having to worry about loading agents onto devices. 100% North American. And we do not outsource to any other countries like the Philippines or to India. And it's not that I'm disrespectful of those countries, not whatsoever. It's just, it becomes a language issue. It's sometimes tougher to understand. And with everything on all resources being North American, it's much easier. Now, having said that, we are 100% Canadian, and we do have some US-based frontline agents. We call our agents mentors. It actually goes back to our roots as a company doing e-learning with our telecommunications companies. So exceptional reputation. I know we should update the slide actually for 2021. We actually, the numbers were pretty close, about almost 500,000 tickets were handled, and our resolution rates were sitting at 93%. That's a 7% escalation rate back to our MSPs. And the reason that the escalation rates are low is because we ask for documentation, and very, very detailed documentation. The more documentation, the better. I think you would all agree that documentation is going to be the key to make any successful partnership. We don't know what we don't know, and it's very hard for us to try and fix an issue when we just don't have the answer. Now, of course, we're outside of the box, and we're going to do our best to fix it. But if it's proprietary software, it's something that we don't have information on, well, we would need that. And I'll tell you how we do it, where we store the documentation. But it's very important that we have that. So that's why our resolution rates are so low. It's because we actually have the right documentation in place. And if we don't, we work with our partners to get that documentation. Okay, Jordan, we can flip to the next one. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, we have, as mentioned, our mentors, level 1 with a bit of level 2, and they've got certifications, many certifications. On average, about 13 certifications on average, and about a 7.5-year tenure here at GMS. So I'm talking certifications. I'm talking Cisco CCNA, Microsoft Desktop Technician, Office 365, CompTIA, EWS, ITAR, CGIS, many different certification levels for our mentors. And we actually have them taking courses, multiple courses per year to upgrade their skills, which are paid for by GMS. And, we'd like to incentivize them by bonuses and raises in order to keep them engaged in the process and keeping their education. And why we keep them as long as we do is because we promote internally. So folks that have, hit a specific tenure, we take a look at them and, is it a potential for them to move into a new position like a team lead or a supervisor, and eventually into roles that work with my MSPs directly. So there's, and I will be honest, we've got a few of my customer service representatives, Ben and Dave and Carter, that were once on the front line. So it's amazing. That's where your experience is. So you know exactly what to expect from the frontline mentors. Okay, I think we can move to the next one. So really, it's about valuing your time, okay? And where are the critical decision points? Where do they need to be made? So as business owners, I'm preaching to the choir here, but you got to wear multiple hats. And when you do that, you're going to drop a ball. It happens. You can't juggle balls 24/7. So there's inconsistencies. And the lack of focus, you feel like you're never really doing enough. Because you can't devote all your time to one thing. You've got to do multiple things. So are you going to be a technician? Are you going to be a business owner that's going to be in front of the customer and promoting your services? Are you going to be able to handle that when a help desk call comes in and you've got to take that phone call? Well, and I talk about this all the time with my MSPs. You're getting ready for a big meeting and you're prepared and it took forever to get that meeting with the business owner, but you finally got it and you sit down, you got your presentation ready to go and the phone rings and it's a question from one of your customers. And now you're into a help desk mentality. And now you got to fix something and it throws you from what your focus has been, which is trying to win new business. So that's why you feel burnt out. And your high paid resources on low value work. What does that really mean? I've got a level 3 tech that I'm paying a lot of money to reset a password, to work on something that is really way beneath them. So really what you're doing is it's being, number one, unprofitable, but you're burning out your workforce. And eventually what are they going to do? They're going to leave. They're going to go find a job that's going to make them feel like their time and their brain is being reused in a manner such as, hey, I'm a level 3 guy. I'm getting paid to do this. And that's what I want to do. And so they're doing different tasks internally on working on servers and build outs and everything that you guys have your level 3 techs do. Going to assess customer networks, trying to find the vulnerable spots, gap analysis, things like that. And really, about 80% of your workload can be outsourced or automated. And people say, well, I'm a one-man MSP. How do I do this? Well, when you're a one-man MSP, how many people do you need to hire in order to have a profitable help desk? Well, it's going to become revenue negative for you pretty quickly. The GMS, let's become revenue positive, and I'll explain how that works in just a little bit. Okay, Jordan, I'll flip you in for the next one. Well, here's how we stand out. As I mentioned, we're 100% North American based. Okay, we are process and metrics driven. We live and die by the metrics. We have to. So our operational maturity in the industry has really guided us along, and we've been, seen a lot of things change over the years. And I'll be honest, true with you folks. Many times we don't have all the answers. We learn a lot from our partners, and if they have a suggestion that makes proper business sense, we'll put that into play. PSA agnostic, that's a pretty big one. But it might be a little bit misleading. So let me explain where we go with that. There are many different PSAs out there. But the big boys on the block, are the Data Autotask and ConnectWise, BMS, which is Kaseya's ticketing system, and Synchro, making some pretty deep inroads. So we have integration with all four, actually. If you don't have a PSA that we can connect to, we can give you some visibility to our Autotask. It's a separate license. There's a fee associated with it because we have to purchase that extra license. But you can actually see the tickets that are opened on your service board. Now, if you have our integration platform working between our systems, it's much different. You actually can interact with the tickets live real time. It's what we call our Help Desk Connector. And we give you what we consider our dedicated account management team. Now, the beauty about my job is I get to continue working with my partners. I don't just sign them and hand them over to a monetization team. I get to actually work with my partners. We are very, very much tied at the hip. I believe that we need to have that relationship. As a business owner, you need to know that you can count on somebody to be there when there's an issue, or if you want to try to win a new opportunity and you want my assistance. If we have to tighten up some of the margins in order to get you closer to the price that you need to be at, we'll work on those. So you have me, but you have my dedicated account management team. It's Carter, and there's David, and there's Ben, and there's Robin, and they're fantastic because what they do is they work with you directly. Now, I'm going to be blunt. Like I said, I've been in the business quite a long time, so I've seen this and I know this. But how many times do you have a vendor and the account manager that signed that deal with you has been gone, no longer there, and you're looking for who's your new account manager, and you probably have 3 or 4. Well, as I mentioned, my tenure here for 8.5 years plus, Ben's with us, been with us for 5, and Dave's with for 3, and Robin's been with us for about 4 or 5 years. So you can see there's longevity. We keep our folks sitting in the chairs doing the jobs that they enjoy doing. So it's not a revolving door. That's one of our, operational maturity has taught us that over the years. Now, before we move to the next one, Jordan, I'm going to reach out to you. Are there any questions from the audience that I might be able to answer?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Well, if there is anything out there, folks, don't hesitate. Flip it in the chat window, and we will get to it, I promise. All right, moving on. You can flip over to the next one for me, Jordan. All right. Do you build it or do you buy it? This is a bit of a wordy slide, but I will tell you, for you to build this, if you do it right, you're looking at close to $400,000 to build an internal help desk. Now, that's on a 24/7, 365 rotation. But see, at GMS, we ride the peaks and valleys of your growth. You don't have to worry about weekly, hourly, daily spikes in volume. We can align your costs directly with revenue. You can capitalize on your truest and scariest Sally payroll calls all the time. Well, you don't want to be handling all those calls all the time. Well, we can take that off of your hands. You focus your team on what we were talking about, billable hours. Go actually do the site assessments. Go help your customer grow. Refresh your equipment. Talk about new builds for them. Actually monetize the opportunities instead of working under the desk because you got to answer questions. Don't worry about it. Focus your team on what they enjoy so you get better retention from your employees and you get growth from them. Reality, and this is, I have this conversation all the time. This is part of my daily routine. But you're an MSP and you've got, let's say, you're doing 80 to 100 tickets a month. And I tell you, or you tell me that your burden cost per employee is like $65,000. And I say, okay, that's one employee. And let's say I'm $40,000 for the year, as an example. Well, I'm $25,000 less. And you've got one employee, and I'm giving you 10, 12, 15, however many you need, because it's in a general pool of my frontline mentors. So now, one employee can answer 2 calls an hour, maybe. Average handle time of 20 minutes, hands on keys and cool down, and, grab a cup of coffee, grab a drink, something of that nature. You got 2.5 calls an hour. Well, when one employee is on the phone, if somebody's calling in or somebody sends a ticket and they can't do multiple tickets, for $25,000 less, I've got as many people as you need answering emails, chats, phone calls. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio in any way, shape, or form. It's like a 10-to-1 ratio. So those are things to consider. And if you hit up our website at gmslivexpert.com, you got /calculator. What you'll see is it's an online calculator that will allow you to drop in your cost per employee, your vacation, sick days, insurance, all the really important stuff that you need to manage that actual employee. And this calculator will run the numbers based on what you have. There's an algorithm built into it. It'll kick out what your burden cost per that employee is. Okay, so that's one employee. Take that, put it up against what my costs look like. And, I had a really nice compliment yesterday. One of my customers said to us that and it was nice, that one of their customers phoned in and thought it was them internally, not GMS. And I say, listen, do not tell your customer ever that you're using GMS. No. You're using a strategic North American business partner. That's what you're doing. But this customer thought it was the MSP's internal help desk. If that's not a compliment, I don't know what is. So it was really exciting to get that. We get kudos like that all the time. It's a perk of the business, shall we say. All right, Jordan, let's flip over to the next one. How can we help simplify the life of you, our partners? Well, let's get into it. 24 by 7, 365, folks. North American. I am here Christmas, New Year's, Labor Day, Easter, every day of the week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Looking at a sub 60-second answer time, instantly chat. And what that really means is there's SLOs that we have to adhere to. And basically 80% of our phone calls will get answered under 90 seconds. Our live chat sitting at 30 seconds, general speed of answer. And our email support's a little less aggressive because email is, I know it's kind of sounding crazy, but it's a little more archaic. If you're on a chat, it's instant. There are peaks and valleys on that, but 80% of the time those calls are going to get answered in under 90 seconds. When we say sub 60 seconds, that's the average speed of answer on our phones. What's really nice about our solution is you can choose the hours you want us to cover. It doesn't have to be 24/7. Now, we're operating 24/7. The pricing is not dictated on day parts. It's dictated on how many tickets you might need or when your utilization of the help desk is going to be greater. Is it going to be more evenings and weekends, overnights? Is it going to be during the day, 24/7? I mean, we can customize a package for you to do that. So it's not like you have to only purchase a day or night. I don't want to tell your customer who might be working at 3 p.m. and has to leave to go out to a doctor's appointment, might save their presentation they're working on and take it home and throw it on their home machine and something goes wrong. They're going to get support. Doesn't matter. We have all devices and apps are all covered. So we're not device based. If you've got an iPhone, you got a tablet, you got a desktop, a laptop, a MacBook, we work with all of them. With the bidirectional PSA integration, it's great because what basically happens is we use Autotask internally. We have for, 18 years. And when a ticket is opened, 30 seconds to a minute later, it will capture unique. So let's say my partner is using ConnectWise. It'll capture unique ticket numbers and time entries, issues, sub-issues, statuses, notes, pop-ups. Will all float between my Autotask board into my partner's ConnectWise. They, in turn, can make any changes to the ticket, and the connector will grab that information and repopulate my service board. So now I have bidirectional integration between our two systems, and there's no logging into a ticket system, putting the information in, having to log out, then logging into the next one. The connector does all the work in the background. Now, when we talk about documentation, I was talking about having a central repository. We are and do use IT Glue. Now, there are no other documentation repositories out there that are bidirectional, and that's why IT Glue is very important. If you don't have it, don't worry about that because we actually have a nice discount that we are able to get our partners. It's an incredible discount. And you're not locked in long-term with them. And if I'm going to ask you to use their product, I better be able to provide you with a nice discount price on it. And we do. We can speak about that offline, but rest assured that we make it extremely affordable and not having you locked into a long-term. And when I talk about mentor pods, what we're talking about is isolating the way we do business in the sense that if a call comes in, most people who want to phone are going to phone. Most people who like to chat are always going to chat. And people who like to send emails are going to email. So what we do is we have specific pods that are dedicated to email, phone, and chat. And if you want to use one of those avenues, feel free, and you're going to have the same team that's going to answer the phone. Well, a different team will answer chat, and a different team will answer emails. But those are the routes that they take. So that's really convenient because it really is more geared to the customer's preferences. And actually, we don't have surprise rate increases. The goal is to actually lower your costs. The better we are, the better you are, the less you pay. And my pricing will reflect that. We'll kind of talk about that in a few minutes. Jordan, I'm going to reach back out to you again. Do we have any questions out there?
Nope. I think everything has been clear so far. No questions in the panel here. So you can keep going.
Either I'm answering the questions or people are just sleeping. I mean, take your pick. No problem. All right, let's flip over to the next one. All right, so we also have a customizable NOC. It's 24 by 7, 365, fully North American. Cover workstations, servers, and network devices. We do advanced patching. And again, the connections are bidirectional with your PSA and IT Glue integration, which is, obviously extremely important. It's actually done a little bit differently than you might think. In order to remain vendor agnostic, I don't want to be telling my partners what tool they need to use. So as an example of this, let's say you're using Ninja, okay? Well, I can't tell you you have to use Autotask or you have to use Synchro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, listen, you continue to put your agent, keep your agents where they are. I'm going to load my own monitoring agent onto the target devices. It's very lightweight. And what it does is it's configured for best practices per technologies, OSs, and it gives me the intelligence back that I need to make the decision to obviously start working and fixing the issue once it hits that threshold. So what we do is that alarm is what we see, and then we go back in and use your RMM to remediate the issue. So your RMM is completely important for us to have. We can't work without it. It just doesn't give us the monitoring because not all RMMs are created equal. Some are heavier on automation, some are more heavier on monitoring. So we need to be consistent, and we are because we have the same platform that we load for everybody and utilize that for monitoring only. There is no ability to tunnel back into the devices. So that is our customizable NOC. It works very, very well. Okay, Jordan, we can flip. So when I talk about the quality assurance team, their job is to make sure that everything is working smoothly, and your standards and reputation are upheld in the marketplace. We look at tickets proactively, and we make sure that they're handled properly with best practices and compliance. All of our sessions are recorded. Our chats are recorded for all the log audit trails placed within the tickets. Phone calls are archived for about 30 days. So if there's an issue and you don't think we did our job properly, you can request to have one of the calls brought down for you, take a listen to it, see how we did. And we also use those as learning exercises, right? There are opportunities for my team to look and say, hey, maybe we didn't handle this right. Or there's been situations, folks, I've seen in the past where somebody's complained about the way we did something, and we pulled the call clip and gave it to the MSP, and it turned out that, unfortunately, the customer was maybe not telling the truth. And when they heard the call clip back, they realized that we corroborated what we said had happened. And it's never, ever to point a finger at anybody. It's to say, hey, here's what we did. Did we do it right? Did we do it wrong? If we did it wrong, let's learn from it. Let's use it as a learning experience, educational tool for the frontline mentor, and move on to the next. We don't have that happen very often, thank goodness. But just know that there's a quality assurance team, Sarah, and my team leads that. And she's fantastic. And we do look at all quality related issues to make sure that you're happy. And we do an investigation, usually 24 to 48 hours into the ticket, and we get back to our MSPs. If we don't have the answer right away, we're going to get it. It takes a little bit of time sometimes to get all the information, but you'll know that we did our best. And, customer surveys are a measure of satisfaction and retention, of course. So you can obviously do that with your clients, and we don't supply the surveys. I'm sure you have your own tools that will do that. We'd like to be copied on the feedback. We'd like to know how we're doing. And that's another part of our partnership too. You see, when I sign a new partner, as mentioned, I keep them, but I have a team of folks that work for me, and they do a job that is, second to none, because they have to work with onboarding, and they monitor tickets, and they deal with and have meetings with my partners weekly, monthly, semi-monthly. So it's complete interaction. And I always say to my MSPs before they sign up, you have to be ready to do this. There's a dedicated team that's there for you, and we are only there to make sure you guys are successful. And if you can't be, if you're not going to show up to those meetings, a lot of times our MSPs will devote somebody internally in their organization to jump on those meetings. But the best and most solid partnerships are the ones that when we meet on a frequency of whatever that might be, as mentioned, monthly, weekly, daily, however it is, they work really well because there's constant communication between our teams. All right, let's flip over to the next one.
Randy, we did get a question if you want to answer it now.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The question was just asking if GMS will provide support for a Dynamics 365 and/or Business Central customer.
Yes, we will. We live on Dynamics 365. Yep, no problem. And what was the other platform?
Business Central. Business Central.
I would think we would. I'm not 100% positive. We could find out about that one, Jordan. I'd be 98% that we're there. I don't want to give 100%, but I think we do. I mean, it's a standard program, correct?
Yes, and we can follow up afterwards with the asker.
Yeah.
So we send a recording and an answer to that question.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. If it's part of the standard bailiwick, I'm sure it's not an issue. It's the things that are way off the charts that we would have never heard about unless we have an SOP to follow. But yeah, I don't think that's an issue at all. Dynamics 365 for sure. Not even a question.
Okay, great. And we actually had another question about reporting. So what kind of reporting do you provide for each site and overall ticket resolution metrics?
Okay, so what we do, the reports that go out will have, they're generated by Autotask, and they will have and encompass every client. So you can see each client you have, each individual user within that client that's opened up a ticket. It'll show you the tickets that were created, what the issues were and sub-issues, and the resolution rates per each from each ticket. So was it escalated? Was it completed? Was it a what we consider no help desk? So there it wasn't an actual help desk related issue. And yes, you can get those reports semi-monthly or monthly. And we also do reconciliation reports that will also align your customer base with our customer base. We know exactly what, if you had 200 users, we can reconcile those 200 users. And if there's any discrepancies, we can either remove those users or add new users. So yes, reports are generated and distributed monthly or semi-monthly.
Okay, great. That's it for now. So I'll let you keep going.
Perfect. Right on. So how does all of this work? The components and integration. With GMS, you're going to get 24/7, 365 North American support. As mentioned, phone, live chat, or email support. We got bi-directional communication with your PSAs, IT glue, and all your reporting. As mentioned as well, you get a dedicated partner manager, customer success, and real-time teams as well, which is hugely important. And the reason we do that is we used to have a partner line. It was a phone line, but with Teams, it's direct, immediate. So what happens is if you've got an issue, you've got a team, your team, directly on Teams. And we also have the ability to go back to our MSPs and say, listen, we're in the middle of a problem here. Guys, we haven't seen this before. Can you help us out? Have you seen this? And many times our MSP partners will help us out with that. And oh, yeah, check this. Or, oh, we didn't have this information uploaded. We're going to get that to you. So we actually have real-time integration with our partners. We know exactly what's happening at all times. And if we have issues, we can reach out to them and get the answers that we need. So the Teams channel has been extremely, extremely important for us and really a game changer for us. So yeah, it's terrific. And we're really happy that we have that ability to do that. And again, for us, as I mentioned, it always comes down to communication. We need communication. And when we have that, then we can do our job properly. If we can't communicate back and forth, it puts us both at a deficit from a help desk to an MSP. And from a customer success manager, that was what I was mentioning earlier about having Robin or Dave or Carter, somebody you can reach out to, speak to, who manages your account, knows the inside and out of your account and your customers. And again, meeting with them is so crucial. It's so very important to do that and have that line of communication open. So if there's an issue, we're able to deal with it directly right away. Okay, Jordan, I think we can move on to the next slide. So the integration and workflow, really what happens is, it's pretty simple, actually. We order and set up 2 local DIDs for you. So our primary phone system is Amazon Connect, and our backup system is called Dynamics. It happens to be the name of the company. And the reason we set up 2 DIDs is because we want to make sure that if there's a trunk line gets cut or a fiber goes down or something of that nature, it'll automatically fail over to the backup. So we set up the DIDs for you. So you can call in, you've got your live chat. And the way chat works is, as mentioned previously, it's a link to the back end of our website. And it's got your colors, your logos, the whole look and feel of your company. But what we'll do is when the chat comes in, you'll have to, if you open up a chat window, it's a system tray icon. The end user can right mouse click like chat now. It could be a desktop icon. You can make it a favorite in their browser bar. When they click on it, it'll open up their default browser. They'll be asked to put their email address in there, which they will do. Once they put their email address in, it'll kick them back a code. So they'll put that code, they'll check their email, and they'll take a look at the code and put it in the chat window, and it'll unlock the chat. And basically right then and there, they're chatting with their frontline mentor, and they have the ability to, at that point, if they have to take over the screen right from chat, we can do it, which is great. And, people love it. I mean, and we can multitask. So very easy. And if we're going to do any email support, it goes through the PSA. So essentially, the end user has an issue, they send a ticket in, open an email, your PSA will grab that email, and then it'll populate my service board. So the help desk connector will grab that information, hit my board, then we'll contact the end user and start working the problem. All the information is captured when the ticket is opened within, as mentioned, Salesforce or Autotask, and then we put in there, all the pertinent information we need, and then it then flows back to your service board. Everything is reported, and then when we're finished, we close out the ticket. You've got a happy end user because we solved the issue. Everything is done and taken care of, and everything is recorded within the ticketing systems. Again, connectors with Autotask, ConnectWise, BMS, and Synchro. That's how the integration and the workflow will work. All right, Jordan, flip over to the next one, please. So we have flexible solutions, and that's why a big reason why a lot of our partners love us. I can hit you on the next one. So what's the bottom line look like for you? We've got a couple services, and it's really very neat because, I think we are a little bit different in the marketplace because we have, many different ways of doing this. So Help Desk is 24/7, 365, fully North American, as mentioned, no outsourcing. Everything is basically, done internally here in Canada and the United States. Cover all your devices again, so workstations, laptops, tablets, mobile devices. We can do after hours, you can do evenings, weekends, you can do 24/7 if you want to. However you want to customize this, we can do it. And it's simply, how do we scale it? Is it more tickets? Is it less tickets? Is it 24/7 because you want us to cover overnight shifts? Or it doesn't matter. We can certainly put a package together for you. It's going to make life a lot easier. And we can go through that. That's not an issue whatsoever to do that. Enterprise NOC. So, servers, devices, workstations, monitoring, event log, SNMP, do scripting, patching, updating, trend analysis. So we keep, really the focus is to more or less try to get ahead of the problem. If you want to look at it this way, Help Desk is reactive to the end user. Got a problem, picks up the phone, chats, emails, we fix the issue. What the NOC is designed to do is get ahead of the issue. So let's not have it fester. Let's go, okay, this is something we're noticing. Disk space is high on this device. We've scripted this machine or patched this machine. Everything is working properly now. The NOC gets ahead of the issue, and they work directly with the Help Desk. So if there's Help Desk takes a call, and it happens to be a NOC-related issue, it's escalated to the NOC. NOC takes a look at it, fixes the issue, reports back to Help Desk, and Help Desk will then contact the customer to make sure everything is working properly. So everything works hand in hand. We can do bundle pricing to have NOC and Help Desk put together. We can do it a la carte. You can buy NOC only, Help Desk only. I mean, we make it really easy. And then we have a really cool model. It's called a dedicated resource. It's called a DR. What the DR does is it's a little different here, folks. So follow me on it. It's only a 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, 9 to 5 resource. They don't work evenings and weekends. But what they do is they work only for the MSP. So they're not working, they're not answering any other calls for any other MSPs. They're working for you. They're dedicated for you. And what's nice about this is basically you pay us. You don't have to worry about anything other than covering the bill at the end of the month, and we will do the work that you need us to do, answer all your phone calls. And if it's quiet and there's some project work you want us to do, we can take care of those projects too. So this is a resource that you purchase. It can be a part-time resource. It can be a full-time resource. One of my large partners has 6 dedicated resources that they use on their service, and they love it. It gets them through the day, and for after hours, they purchase some extra tickets. So any coverage they need after hours is covered by the general pool of frontline mentors. So that's another model that we carry, and we can certainly discuss it. It depends on, a couple things. First of all, there is no SLO involved because it's one person, right? Where if you're in the general pool of mentors, then there's an SLO that applies because there's so many folks that could potentially answer the call for you. But when it's a dedicated resource, there is no SLO. But, so it's something to consider. It's really, we have, that model, we have a per ticket model, and we do a per user model. So there's many different ways to do this. Next slide for you, Jordan. So because this is our final slide before we wrap up and take some questions, if you want to talk about how we do this, what you can do is you can send an email to sales@globalmentoring.com, or call the numbers at 443-960-8989. If you're in the States, or if you're here in Canada, 905-286-3801. Myself and Luigi Porcari both do sales and basically business development for the company. We're here to help. We're here to outline what our pricing models look like. We can go through each and every model, make sure it makes sense for you. From a per ticket standpoint, really what we're talking about is you buy a bucket of tickets and can spread that out over your client base. As long as the customer or end user is named in the system, we will support them. If we look at a per user model, it's a little bit different. We assume that there's going to be a specific volume of tickets come in. We will do an analysis to see how many tickets you generally receive in a month. So we'll know exactly how many tickets and how many users you have. And there's a formula that I have and a whole calculation that we can look at. So really, I want to make sure that we do this properly so we don't set the wrong expectation. So if there's any discrepancy, we know, okay, I've got this many tickets per month I'm going to need. Fine, we buy that. We can look at pricing and all that great stuff. So yeah, you can reach out to us. I'll be happy to hop on a call anytime to kind of go through this and kind of walk you through how the pricing looks. And any questions that you have regarding this presentation, I can certainly answer. So what I'll do now, Jordan, is I'll throw it back out to you to see if there's any other questions on the floor that I can assist with.
Yeah, we got one other question about price range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the
Okay.
question. Maybe just the
Okay.
and then if you want to expand a little bit more on that.
Yeah, for sure. Standard pricing, you're generally, if I had to generalize it, you're looking around $24 a user per month per user. So, and we do have minimums. We can talk about that, but on average, about $60 per ticket and $24 per user. Depends on the model. If we're talking our utilization model, which is really interesting, really what we're assuming here is, you know, how many tickets are you doing across how many end users? That's going to give you a percentage. Then we associate a dollar value with that percentage. So as an example, I generally know that 40% of the 40% of end users will open up a support ticket. So really, what does that mean? If you gave me 100 users in a month, okay, like Mark, Jonah, Alyssa, Ron, Shana, Josh, Leslie, Emma, Eric, if you gave me 100 people, of those 100, 40 of them are going to open a support ticket in a month. And the reason we know this is we have our MSPs do a 90-day snapshot of their help desk tickets. We then have them remove the duplicates, and then the tickets, you know that I'm not going to be able to work. So, you know, Sally is going to move to a new cubicle. Her phone and her computer need to be moved. Well, we don't do that. Or she needs toner cartridges. We don't do that. If she's not doing any NOC-related services, get rid of any NOC monitoring alerts, remediation. Just leave me with level 1 and a bit of level 2. You'll sit between 35 and 45%. It's pretty uncanny how it works. So at that rate of consumption, we associate the $24. That's 40%. But let's say in reality, maybe you're not there. Maybe you're only at 20%. Maybe every 100 users only generates 20 tickets a month for you. Your systems are tightened up, networks are hardened, not a lot of noise, new equipment. Well, okay, there's no need to charge you $24 per user. You're only using me 20% of the time. The other 80%, you folks are taking the call. So we can come down to like $12 a user. So now your help desk cost went from $2,400 a month down to $12. So it depends how, you know, the MSP, the better they are, the less tickets they drive, the less they pay. And you don't feel cheated because it's not like you're saying, well, I'm paying $24 a user, nobody's ever calling. No, you're going to be charged what you are really accumulating. So again, we can get into a deeper discussion on it, but that's generally where you're going to sit, between $24 a user on average, $18 a user, and about $60 per ticket. And then you just drop your profit on top of that. And there's a hefty profit that you can make off of a $24 per user. You can probably go in at 45 to 50 a user easily. And if you're looking at some profitability on a per ticket, $70, $75 per ticket is more than fair in this industry.
Thanks, Randy. And then there was just another question to follow up on NOC pricing, if you want to try that a little bit. Yeah,
no problem. So on NOC pricing, we look at per server and workstations. And it depends on the volume of servers. If there's some volume going in there, we certainly can talk about volume discounts. Generally about $47 a server, give or take, $47.50 per server. Again, there's some room to play because it depends. And then also we're looking about $7 per workstation for us to keep those things running smoothly, patch them, make sure everything is up to date. And network devices run a little differently because there are dumb switches. It's only up down. There's more intelligent routers, firewalls. So some switches that are require much more work, and those are priced differently. So it really depends on what the network looks like, and we can certainly quote it out if we know how many devices we're working with and what those devices are. We can certainly price those out. But generally, $47.50 a server and $7 per workstation is kind of where you would sit from a NOC pricing perspective.
Great, thank you. That's the end of our questions at this point. So yeah, if you want to just wrap it up or add any other pieces to that, we don't have any more questions in the panel.
All right. Well, no, I appreciate it. As I said, it should be, 40, 45 minutes. I'm about 41 minutes past, so I think we're pretty much on target. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you for giving me some time during your day on Hump Day, and I appreciate it. If there's any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate. Really, reach out at sales@globalmentoring.com. Call us up at 443-960-8989, or here in Canada at 905-286-3801. I will be happy to assist you with anything you have. Please lean on my expertise. We've been doing this a long time, and the one thing that I'm very proud of personally is I have partners that started with me 8 years ago and I started 8.5. Okay, so they're with me today, and we have a wonderful partnership. It's all about the relationship to me. There's a lot of other help desks out there that you can go to that they'll give you a month-to-month contract. How much time are they investing into you? Really, right? Do they really care? We care about your growth. And I know it might sound like, a little bit of lip service, but it's not. I'm as genuine as they come. If anybody's talked to me in the past before, or people that may have talked to me, I'm as genuine as they come because I want to see you grow. That's what I live for. So anyways, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Jordan, fantastic job flipping the slides and keeping your eyes on the chat. So appreciate you doing that. And everybody, if that is it and there's no other questions, you all have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for joining us today at Sherweb GMS Helpdesk. And we look forward to seeing and being able to speak to you in the not too distant future.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Jordan. Thanks so much. You as well.